there. Yeah, we should have done off the duties real quick so they can breathe.
To apologise, we were told there was going to be a slightly different way of doing the, well, it looks like we are going to go for a running start, but they're giving them 2 laps under the safety car. Get some heat into the rubber. It looked like they were coming to take their positions on the grid, but of course there's a running start for these cars, as it would be in any other GT format of racing. GT3 and GT4 cars, that are the spec cars that are racing here. Of course, there's a whole bunch more of them. Eveling in 2 cars according to the timing monitor right now. I don't know quite how that works, but I would say it's Michael Stephen and Isak Spies in the McLarens. Michael Stephen was in the white McLaren yesterday. He is alongside Charles Oranges. Then you've got Silvio Scribanti and Isak Spies. That's how they'll be lining up at the moment. I don't know what we're picking up on there, because that's definitely not how they lined up on the grid. I don't know if Arnie's in that, or is Arnie Neveling and Michael Stephen maybe sharing that car, possibly. Yeah, so I think Arnie Neveling and Michael Stephen sharing the car, and then 113 will be Charles Oranges. I don't know, the timing seems to be a little bit out here. I'm not quite sure how they've got the timing done, but we'll get it sorted out in the race. I've got 3 cars on pole position at the moment. How does that work? I'm not quite sure how the timing's working, but we'll pick up on that as they get into it. I would say Michael Stephen is in the white McLaren on the front row alongside Charles Orangi, Silvio Scribanti, Isak Spies, Aldo Scribanti, Zolile Latlaka, the Bigfoot Express Freight Porsche of Sun Mudley, Patamba ahead of Scorer, and in the Ferrari at the back. We'll wait and see. Here they come, under starters orders. And to the line for the first time. Here we go. Rowan Ellis has just joined us. Big welcome. And across the line down towards turn 1 we go. And into turn 1. A little bit of a fight on there between Oranges and Michael Stephen. Michael Stephen keeping Oranges out. Oh, and just getting squeezed to the top of the hill into turn 2. So the Lamborghini hits the front now. Oranges ahead of Michael Stephen, ahead of Silvio Scribanti. And then it's Isak Spies. Isak Spies, of course, partnering up this weekend with Jade Goodsight. So when we do get into the thick of it for the race action that's going to start, we're also going to be seeing that action continuing for the change-up in drivers. Change-up in drivers, of course, also expected here as we get into it. And, of course, there's no pit lane rules or pit stop rules here. You can come in at any time. You can do the pit stop if you need to, and, of course, come through to do that pit stop. It's vital to get that all sorted out. Okay, there's confirmation. It's actually round 1 of this championship. So, guys, if we want to change that that board of ours, we said it was round 2, but it's actually round 1 of the SAGT Racing Association. According to Wayne Riddell, PE was just a test session for them, although they did race there. So they're just not going to score points in those races that were done on the day. Across the line, it's Oranges from Michael Stephen, from Silvio Scribanti. Lamborghinis versus the McLaren, and getting away just at the front end of this fight. Second place panel, of course. It says Arnie. I don't know what's happening with that timing. The timing seems to be slightly out though. We'll wait and see if we can get that timing monitor sorted out from ZA Timing. But it's saying that 3 cars are all being driven by Arnie Neveling at the moment. Fight there between Aldo Scribanti and Isak Spies. Bigfoot Express Freight Porsche ahead of Mikael Patamba at the back end. Those first 2 races in PE were not for championship points. This is the first round, and the test session all sorting out these cars, getting ready. It's Speaking of sorting out the cars, interesting to see how they did the balance of performance yesterday. Gave Michael Stephen an opportunity to drive all 7 of the top contenders, and he got into the McLaren, the Lamborghini, the Porsche, the Ferrari, the BMW, and of course got a chance to drive all of those cars, and in doing so put 5 laps for each car to see the difference in that balance of performance. It turns out between those 7 cars only 0.3 of a second difference between them. So the balance of performance is certainly on, and it's now up to the drivers to sort themselves out on the track. Couldn't ask for a better man to do that testing for you. Of course, multiple SA champion in all forms of the sport, from go-karting to saloon cars to production cars to international sports cars even. Michael Stephen having an opportunity to drive as one of the teams in the Kyle Army 9 now in cars of a similar vein, GT3 and GT4 spec cars. So SRO of course run the Intercontinental GT Championship, and of course the GT Championship here in South Africa now. I don't know what's happening there. There's definitely there's an issue on the ZA timing site. I think Arnie's not involved here. Arnie Neveling is in the same car as Charles Oranges, and maybe they haven't worked that out just yet, because it's saying GT3 SA. That's of course the car that they pilot, the Porsche from Sodale Motorsport. So I know that Charles and Arnie are teammates in the SA Endurance Series, but on the timing monitor it's saying that Arnie Neveling is in the car now with Charles. Maybe they've got Arnie's transponder in that car by accident. We'll wait and see how it resumes. But at this stage, it's definitely Charles Oranges out front, ahead of Michael Stephen. Michael Stephen ahead of Silvio Scribanti, and then a small gap down to Isak Spies and Aldo Scribanti fighting, and then another gap to both Zolila Letlaka. Zolila Letlaka and Sun Mudli fighting for 5 or 6. That's right, on track, Coming into pit lane, the Bigfoot Expressway Porsche there. And it looks like Ashur Patamba's got some problems on his one. Up a little bit of debris on the track as well there from a packet that probably was raced, been dropped somewhere on track. But I think that might be battle scars from the Endurance Championship race that's just taken part only half an hour ago. So certainly a change up there, and not expected such an early pit stop from him. Alright, so it looks like it's actually Arnie Neveling. Arnie Neveling is in the lead car at the moment. He started the race in the Lambo, according to what I've just been given on the Facebook feed there from Wayne Riddell. Of course, the man who's in charge of this class. So it's Arnold Neveling who's leading things out at the front, ahead of Michael Stephen. Apologies there for the bit of confusion, but we're on one side of the circuit. We're relying on what's been given to us by ZA Timing, and of course they are teammates in both of the categories today. And with those teammates fighting so hard, of course we're going to try and work out who's who. Okay. So I was right. It is Charles Oranges who's in the Lamborghini. Arnold started the race, of course, in the Porsche earlier on today. Lap completed from Spies and Aldo Scribanti's point of view. Spies pushing hard now. Isak Spies trying to fend off the attentions there of Aldo Scribanti. Confirmation of the standings as they are at this stage. Oranges from Stephen, Scribanti, Spies, Aldo Scribanti, and then Zolila Letlaka and Sun Mudli. Woodley closing on the back end of Letlaka. Aldo closing on the back end of Spies. And in fact, Aldo Scabanci quicker than Isak Spies on that last pass. 13.9 out of Aldo and a 14.1 out of Isak Spies. So very tight between those two cars that we're watching right now. A little bit further up the road, the other McLaren Lamborghini Huracan battle between Michael Stephen and Silvio Scabanci. No changes just yet in those first three. 8 minutes done. Silvio and Aldo closing in on the two McLarens ahead of them. Looking to try and close that gap down as quickly as possible. Michael Stephen going to be a difficult man to pass here. First three cars all in the 9s. So very, very tight stuff between them. 109.5, 109.5, 109.9 for the first three cars as they cross the finish stripe there. Isak Spies 14s going down to a 13.4 now. 13.2 though out of Aldo. Aldo definitely the quicker car between those two, but to find a way past on Isak is the difficulty, and Aldo Scabanci is finding out on track at the moment. So try and find a way through there on that Ultimate Outlaws McLaren of Isak Spies. Still got one more car on track which we're not picking up on there in 8th place. That's the Z4 BMW. We'll try and get a plan of that to get it up on screen. This is round 1 of this championship. Apologies for earlier on mentioning it as round 2, but they have already raced down in PE, but that of course getting confirmation from Wayne Riddell saying that was just a test session. The 2 races to set the cars up, get everything sorted out and get these guys ready and excited about their championship season start here today in Port Shepstone. So what happens now, as you can see if you're watching the comments being put onto the Voice of Choice page, and I'm going to ask Wayne to share that onto the other 2 pages as well, on ILEV and onto the South African Endurance Series page. A win will give the driver 75 kilos success ballast, second gives you 60, third gives you 45, fourth gives you 30, and fifth gives you 15 kilos. It's immediately after the race, and this could be put on, as you can see there from the comments, either for the next race or on the same race weekend, or in fact on the first race of the next event. So that'll be interesting to see how that all works out from a success ballast point of view. Ranji's 2.2 seconds up the road now. That's now a second ahead of Michael Stephen. Silvio losing out a little bit of ground now to Michael Stephen. As you can see, he's dropped back into 3rd place. He's on his own in 3rd. About 2 seconds off the pace of Michael Stephen. So controlling things from the front there is the Stradale Motorsport man. And in an Ultimate Outlaws McLaren, Z4 has pulled back into pit lane, so it looks like the BMW might be out there. Going back out because I see Kish Patamba is out the car and has walked away from it. So I think there's a problem with that Z4 BMW and might not make it out onto the track again there for the second, maybe only for the second race later on today. Sun Woodley closing on there onto the back end of Exo. So Lili Letlaka, the Into Africa mining man, part of Stradale Motorsport's attack at this championship. Definitely a big move here from Sun Woodley in the Bigfoot Express Freight Porsche. Trying to close onto the back end and find a way through there on the Lamborghini ahead of him, of Exo. Possible move here for change up. No, not able to squeeze him out. I think EXO was just quick enough to keep the Porsche out. We'll wait and see as they come onto the line now. Come out of the southern loop, yeah. Zolile just able to keep San Woodley at bay for now. How much longer though? And looking in the background, watch out for the quicker car of Aranji starting to come into the back round of the shot. Continued fight there between Spies and Aldo. Aldo looking for a chance now to get through on the McLaren. Not going to be easy to do it. It's a tough track to pass. It's really not an easy track to pass at. There's probably 2 overtaking opportunities. One of them is here. If you get the drive out of turn 8 and head up into the southern loop into 9 and 10, you can possibly have a go into the triple apex right-hander. The other one, of course, was coming down the hill where these 2 cars have just gone through into turn 4. And into the hairpin at turn 4, there's a chance to overtake. And then, of course, here at turn 1. But you've got to be very late on the brakes and committed to go into the inside of turn 1 and find a way through. And that's not where Aldo is just yet. Aldo definitely looking a lot more aggressive, though. And 13.5s and 13.6s out of those 2 cars. So evenly matched between Aldo Scribanti and Isak Spies. 9.3s out of Aranjis, 10.1s out of Michael Steven, 9.8s out of Silvio Scribanti. Here comes the leader onto the pack of Zolile Latlaka and the Bigfoot Expressway Porsche out of turn 1 and 2. Watching the battle though in front of me, and you can see it's a tight one there between Aldo on the back end of Spies. Looks like Spies just trying to keep out the tensions of Aldo Scribanti. There is the Z4. Doesn't look like the fast development team have been able to do anything about getting that car back on track. Maybe they'll do it in between the 2 heats. Oh, it's getting real. Look at that. Nice maneuver there from Michael Steven to allow him. And it looks like San Moody's going to try and capitalize on that. Trying to find a way around the outside of the Lambo. Has he been able to do it? We'll wait and see. Yeah, that was close. So close between those 2 cars, and as they went around the corner into turn 6 and 7, possible change up, and I think the Porsche of San Moodley has gone through. San Moodley now looking for a chance to settle down and maintain the 6th place he's just taken away from Zolile Latlaka. Aldo and Spies now going at it. Aldo on the inside has a big look down into turn 4, makes it stick. Spies saw him coming, gave him some room. Just goes through there to move up 1 position. So Aldo Scribanti now up into 4th place. Isak Spies demoted 1 down into 5. Moodley has overtaken and passed Zolile Latlaka for 6th, and Latlaka down to 7th now. Shoot across onto IDB and have a look and see if there's any comments we need to be chatting about there. Tace Humphreys, hope you're enjoying. Thank you so much for the support there, and Gary Hudson as well. Porsche stuck in pit lane, but carrying on out on track, of course. Big action here for round 1 of the South African GT Racing Association Championship. Silvio Scribanti losing a little bit of ground now. Trying to make up the ground that he lost earlier on to Michael Steven. Michael Steven also doing the same thing, not able to make up any ground on the lead car of Charles Laranjis. Pit stop from Michael Steven. So Michael Steven has dived into the pit lane. changed a couple of things up there in terms of the overall standings. Stephen coming in for that pit stop. And now goes back on track to hunt down the first McLaren of Isak Spies. Confirmation of Michael Stephen back onto the track after that little pit lane stop of his. That might be a strategy for Michael Stephen to try and get ahead of the Lamborghini. Going in early. It's very stable, mate. Isak Spies just ahead of him. I'm sure he'll be looking to get past Isak Spies as quickly as possible. Mudley, now that he's got ahead of Zolile Letlaka, has also pulled away slightly on a similar vein to what Aldo's done since he got through. So Aldo getting ahead of Spies, pulling away, and Mudley getting ahead of Letlaka and doing the same thing to get away from him. Michael Stephen having a look on the inside. Spies will realise that Mike is coming, probably going to give him a little bit of room to get through. We'll wait and see if that's the case, or he's going to fight for it. I think he's going to fight for it. There's no team orders in that McLaren team. Aldo still there with a full spot. Nice run so far from the second of the Scribanti Concrete Lamborghinis. Aranji's in the pit lane as well. Here's a possibility of a change up for the lead. Where is Michael Stephen? Let's see if he's able to use that advantage. I think getting stuck behind Spies might have cost him. Aranjis is on track, and I don't think there's been a change up in the lead. I think Aranjis has been able to hang on. Yeah, he has. Aranji stays in the lead. Well, we talk about the lead. I think it's the lead basically overall. Silvio Scribanti is still in the lead at the moment. Aranjis would be second. And Michael Stephen possibly going to change that up as well. Oh, looks like a safety car scenario. Somebody's gone off on the track. Safety car board's going out. I don't know if Charles seen them just yet, or is that Arnie in the car now? Never know. Unfortunately, we didn't have a Val goes out of pit lane and onto the circuit, but there's definitely an issue somewhere on track, and we can try and pick it up with our cameras. But definitely an issue there, and just waiting for the lead car before they send that Val on its way. They're going to wave Letlaka through, so he won't be the lead car they're looking to pick up on. They're going to look to pick up on Silvio Scribanti. Silvio at the moment, with the two pit stops being done by Aranjis and Michael Stephen. There we go. That should be the car they pick up on, I think. 45 is Aldo. There goes Michael Stephen. They're waiting for the second of the Lamborghinis. It'll be the 55 Lamborghini of Silvio Scribanti. Here it comes. So they're going to let that Aval H6 out onto circuit to pick up on the lead cars. So looking at the way things are going right now, both the Lambos went through. So Lille went through, the Porsche went through. I'm trying to work out who the issue is, where the issue is. I don't know which car was involved in the issue. Sunwood's gone through. Letlaka's gone through. So yeah, I don't know which car is called the issue for the safety car. Four Lambos, two McLarens, Porsche. It might be the BM. The BM's back on track, and I think it may be the BMW, that Z4 BMW of Mikhail or Kishore Patamba. We haven't picked up where the incident is. It might be up in the southern loop and out of our camera's eye line and shot, so that's possibly where the issue is. Just watching them as they circulate around now. Now both McLarens, all 4 Lambos, and the Porsche all okay. I would have to say it's that Z4 BMW that potentially has caused the issue somewhere on track. I'm not sure where it is. As I said, we haven't picked up with our cameras where that incident is. So Silvio now leads out over Sun Woodley by the looks of things. The problem that Silvio is having right now is under safety car, the faster cars that have done their pit stops are going to close in on him. Go back on track. I don't know, maybe we missed that sometime here as they went past us. Watching the other action that was happening on screen, we might have just missed them leaving pit lane. Looks about right to me. Silvio, Aldo from Michael Stephen. And I think we're looking at the way things stand on track at the moment. Remember, Silvio can make the pit stop under safety car. So he can go in if he wants to. He just doesn't seem to want to go in. Maybe he's going to look to Aldo to try and fend off Michael Stephen and give him a little bit of a gap to go in and do the pit stop that he needs to do and then come back out again. But you would assume that under safety car, you see him dive into pit lane and do that pit stop and get it done. Anyway, we'll wait and see how it transpires. Right now, it's Scrimanti from Scrimanti. Silvio versus Aldo for 1 and 2. Michael Stephen is 3. Isak Spies is 4. Sun Mudley is 5. Zolila Latlaka is 6. Aranjis is 7th. And Patamba, I think, was the problem car. He, of course, is down in 8th place, but out of the running. We do see Mikhail and Kish, it's the same car, so 9 and 10 doesn't really come into it as they go around and complete another lap under that safety car. Sure what the strategy is there for Silvio Scrimanti at the moment. Staying behind the safety car has not really helped him out. He dives in. Maybe he dives in as we go to green and uses the sort of formation lap again to try and make up that time. If I was him, I'd be sitting right behind that oval so that I can dive in and not lose any position on track if necessary. We'll wait and see if that's going to be the case. Maybe that's his strategy. We'll wait and see now as they come round. I think we might be going to green. Just seeing the last couple of shots of that safety car board's been put away. We're about to go to green. So does Silvio dive into pit lane now and attempt to use the slow first lap with Sun Mudley leading that pack to get his pit stop done? There goes the H6 into pit lane. It's the other side of where we are normally taking our commentary. No, Silvio stayed out. Maybe he's going to wait for a second safety car to get going. Green flags. In other words, turn 1. Charles got to wait till they cross the line before he can overtake Zolile. Michael's got to wait to do the same thing to get through on Aldo, but the two of them getting through relatively unscathed. Zolile stays wide and out of the way, but goes straight into the line there of Aldo Scribante. So nearly some contact there between Aldo and Zolile. Eventually Zolile opens up the door, allows Aldo through and Spies, and then Zolile resumes his position. And of course that's position on track down in 6th and 7th place. San Woodley about to be caught and passed by Charles Orangis and Michael Stephen down into the breaking point in turn 4 and moves up nicely. So Orangis moved to about 2nd place, I would say, on track, ahead of Michael Stephen in 3rd. Michael Stephen is now going to try and hound him. There's half an hour to go, or just over half an hour to go in this one, and you can see Silvio's just put his head down and is going to try and open up a gap. I don't know if that was the right strategy though, but we'll wait and see. Maybe he's got something special that we don't know about. And if there's another safety car scenario, that's what he's hoping for. But Silves has stayed out there. Maybe he's going to run with, and I mean Wayne is listening in here, but are they able to run with a big tank and do the whole hour on one tank? Maybe they don't have to come in for a refuel. I'm not sure if there's a compulsory stop they've got to make. If there's no compulsory stop and Silvio's decided to stay out there, then he might be able to do the whole hour with one tank and is looking for a chance to take the victory without having to make any stops. Solves from Michael Stephen. Aldo Scribante is 3rd as it stands. And that's why you're seeing Charles Orangis getting the hurry up there, because he came in for a driver change. Well, no driver change, but he came in for a refuel, and he's there in 5th place according to the timing that we've got. If there's a refreshed version of that, but we'll wait and see as they cross the line now. But definitely Silvio Scribante out front. Aldo Scribante closing in on the back end of San Woodley. So another lap down. Let's see if anything changes there. 109.9 from Silvio Scribante, 109.8 from Michael Stephen, 108.8 out of Charles Orangis. Fastest lap so far of the weekend, a 108.8 out of Michael Stephen in that McLaren. Spies in and handing over to Jade Goodsight. There you can see the pit lane activity. Des Goodsight going to film his son getting into the car as they help Spissy out of the car. Jade climbs in. Doesn't want to lose too much position if possible. So a little pit lane activity there for us as Isak Spies has now come in. He'll lose 5th place to Charles Orangis and give Jade Goodsight a chance to get behind the wheel of that McLaren. Once they've got him strapped in, they'll send him on his way. Still hangs on to the lead of the race though, and that's one lap down there for Jay Goodsight that he's lost in the pit lane stop. Okay, so there you got confirmation from Wayne Riddell as well, our race director for this, sitting up in Johannesburg, unfortunately having to go into quarantine, but nice to see that he's keeping an eye on how things are going here. You do not have to make a mandatory pit stop. So if Silvio went out with a heavy fuel load, he may still be able to control things from the front as that fuel load comes down and take a gamble of trying to run the full race distance on one tank of fuel. I'm sure that Byron and the team down at Silvio Scribante Racing and Scuderia Scribante would have definitely been playing around with the calculators to say, well, if we run at this pace, can we do the entire hour on one tank? And that's why they've left him out there. Woodley behind Aldo. Aldo's got Spies now with Jade Goodsight closing in on him. Orangis 108 dead. Wow. Almost into the 7s now as Orangis starts to apply a bit more pressure onto the back end there of Silvio Scribante. But of course, remember, Charles Orangis on overall standings is down in 4th, so he's got to get through and make up the 2 laps he lost in pit lane. Aldo into pit lane. San Mudley into pit lane at the same time. Aldo Scribante climbing out the car. And who is he handing over to there? Just trying to work out who his teammate might be. Or has he just gotten in and out of the car? I don't know. San Mudley climbs out the car. Oh, I think the driver has to be out the car if they're refueling. That might be... No, it's not that. So Sun's out the car. Comes back in. Aldo out of his car as well. Another lap completed by the leaders, or the leader. That is Silvio Scribante. Charles Orangi's now up into second. From Charles, from Michael Stephen, Aldo Scribante in pit lane. Isak Spies changed over to, of course, Jade Goodsight. Aldo's car back on track now, just behind Jade Goodsight. San Mudley should be on track pretty shortly as well, out of his pit stop. Go. Coming onto the track now is San Mudley in the Bigfoot Express Freight Porsche. Just ahead of the lead pack, so Mudley will just be well aware of that. Information there as well from Wayne saying running on Michelin tyres, all these guys. Slightly harder compound. Probably not going to get the ideal lap times that these cars can do on that harder compound, but certainly a big cost saving to the series to have a harder compound tyre that lasts longer over the hour endurance. Coming in from about 10 laps in. 25 minutes to go. Silvio in a big fight here with Charles and Michael. If he's clever, Silvio can just place that car correctly. There's not really any opportunities to pass, particularly when you're on such evenly matched cars. 109s and 108s out of the first three in the battle for the lead. Best lap is a 109.4. Best lap from Charles Orangi is a 108 dead. I'm not sure if the best lap right there is correct. We did a 108 dead earlier on. 108.8 out of Michael Stephen also might be slightly out too, but current lap times 109s, in fact 111s out of those three. 11.1s, 11.1s and 11 and a 10.8 out of Michael Stephen. Michael Stephen most aggressive out of those top three as they come onto the back end of Zolile Letlaka at the top of the hill in the northern loop through turn 2. Letlaka just backing Scribante up slightly, moves to the right hand side, does Scribante to get around the outside of Zolile, which will be the inside line for turn 4. And yeah, they come down the hill. Sure, full flight Lambos versus McLaren. The two bulls fighting off and fending off the attack from Michael Stephen. Thanks for that, Wayne. Appreciate that. Little pit stop changes. The pit stop is mandatory, so you have to do a pit stop, which means Silvio Scribante is in big trouble. Because as much as he's going to stay in front of this race, he has to make a pit stop still. And if it's a one-man team, that's the reason why the driver climbs out of the car and gets back in the car as well. So apologies for that, but no worries. We're all learning as we go along here. It's a new series, new rules, and of course pit stops are mandatory. And if you are a one-man team, you have to get in and out of the car as if you're doing a driver change, just to simulate what the two-man team cars would be doing. .29 laps completed from Silvio, about to get to the 30-lap mark here in just under 40 minutes of racing. And a change-up. Orangi hits the front, gets through on Michael Stephen. Silvio Scribante down to third. What is Silvio thinking? Maybe he's going to have to come in. I think he may have realized the error of his ways there. I'm looking out of my left shoulder as well as the BMW's been brought back into pit lane. That was the reason for it. But he's slowing up dramatically, is Silvio Scaranti. Change up for the lead for the first time. Charles Orangis hits the front again ahead of Michael Stephen. As they complete the 30th lap of action, 22 minutes of racing still to go. Silvio Scaranti possibly into pit lane, I would say, because he's that far back. Yeah, he's gone into pit lane. There he is. Driver climbs out. Steps back away from the car. 2 feet on the ground and then can get back into the car. Over 20 minutes to go in the fight for the lead there between Orangis and Michael Stephen with 30 laps completed. Silvio still in pit lane. Is he going to lose a position here possibly to no longer Isak Spies but now Jade Goodsight? In 4th place, Jade Goodsight at the wheel of that car. Aldo Scaranti down in 5, Sun Woodley still in 6th and 7th place, Solila Letlaka Exo still there in the top 7. Wow. Consistent 8s coming out of those top 2 now. They're literally running in the 8-second bracket all the time. 108s around this track. Yo! Big move on the inside there of Zulile Letlaka. Silvio back on track. And Sunwoody just gets ahead of him and goes up the hill ahead of Silvio. He hasn't lost 3rd place, so it looks like Silvio might have just hung on to stay ahead of Jade Goodsight, who's taken over from Isak Spies now. Yeah, Spies heads up the hill, having just passed Solila Letlaka. So Charles Orangis, Michael Stephen fighting for the lead of this one. Silvio in 3rd spot and maintains 3rd spot even after his pit stop. I think between Michael Stephen and Charles Orangis. Michael Stephen is not going to give that 1st place up without a battle. Lambo on the Porsche into turn 1. Inside line, shouldn't be too much of an issue there. Silvio going through and finds a way past on Sun Woodley. It's not for track position, just to get through and get out of the way of the back marker. Up the hill, goes Isak Spies to close in on those 2. You can see him just in the background of that shot. 32 laps completed and 19 minutes still to go in this one. And there are your top 2 heading into the southern loop. Charles Orangis ahead of Michael Stephen. Head down into turn 5. It's a battle between the top 2, Orangis and Michael Stephen, that's starting to heat up. They're both of them now into the 9s. Aldo up the hill towards the southern loop. There is the leader, Charles Orangis. How far back is Michael Stephen? Maybe just giving himself a bit of breathing room. 18 minutes to go. And you can't let Charles get too far ahead because, as I said, it's a really difficult circuit to pass at anyway. So if Michael Stephen wants to have a go at Charles, he's got to be a little bit closer than that. Clark might help his teammate out here. give a little bit of opportunity for Charles to get through and maybe just hinder Michael Stevens slightly. No. Good driving there from Zolile. Didn't hinder any of those drivers. Moved to the inside line, stayed out of harm's way, and allowed Michael Stevens to continue to try and close things down there on Charles Arangis. It's a busy cockpit in those cars at this particular circuit. Not a lot of room to do adjustments if you want to. Michael Stevens was saying the short straight into turn 1 is not enough to make adjustments on the steering wheel or play around with brake biases and that kind of thing. So you kind of got to leave the pit box with everything sorted. And if you want to make any fine adjustments that you could do at other circuits where they've got longer straights like East London or Kyalami, the ability to do that here at Dezzi's is a lot more difficult because of the lack of straights and the chances to look down at your steering wheel and make those adjustments if you need them. 9-9 I should say out of Arangis, a 10-1 out of Michael Stevens. Michael possibly looking for that second place to just cement it for the first round of this championship. But another race later on today. It'll be the last race of the day after the second 3-hour SA Endurance Series. Will be up in about half an hour after this one. So about 15 minutes of race action to go here. And Scaramanti now into the 9.6s as well. So Silvio definitely looking to close things down if he can. He may be a little bit too far back though to do any damage to those top two. He may just have to settle for third. As I said, it didn't quite work out in strategy there for Silvio. Beg your pardon, having led the race for such a long time. I don't think he realized that he maybe missed that opportunity to pit under safety car, which might have brought him a little bit closer to the top two. Diving through on EXO as they go to the southern loop. Makes that one easily. Aldo a bit further back there, all on his own. Trying to close down on the back end of Jade Goodsight. Goodsight partnering with Isak Spies, 4th place. Goodsight at the wheel of the McLaren right now. Here's the fight for the lead again. Michael has closed down slightly. Gap has definitely come down between himself and Arangis. It was a lot bigger than that visually. About to complete lap number 37 of this hour endurance race. Stephen definitely putting pressure on here. Sure, 9.6 out of Michael Stevens, faster of the two cars on that last one. Little mistake there from Michael into turn 2. Just clipping the curb where he didn't really want to, slowed him up slightly. Out of Jade Goodsight. It's one of the best laps we've seen out of that car with him. It's good to see. Getting to grips with the McLaren. Silvio once again closing on the back end of Letlaka and Sun Mudley. Sorry, that's Aldo, not Silvio. Apologies for that. They're very similar looking cars. There's not really any differentiating factor other than the numbers, but sometimes from a head-on shot you can't see those numbers on the side of the car. So Aldo now putting another lap down on Letlaka and possibly on Mudley within the next lap and a half. little bit of white smoke out of that Lambo. As they came out of turn 4 there. Aldo's car starting to smoke up just a smidgen. That's a concern, so we'll definitely keep an eye on it. Might have just been a bit of dust though. There goes Jade Goodside across the line, completing another lap. And currently in 4th place on an 11.336, so it goes even quicker. Here comes Aldo on Son Woodley. Woodley's not going to give him up too much room, but he opens up the door at turn 1 and says, there you go. Fellow Port Elizabethan, or what is it now called? Gerbera, or something like that. The new name for PE. 9, 6 and 10 dead out of the top 2 as they cross the line. Just ahead of that car, Zulile Letlaka in the Stradale Motorsport into Africa Mining Lamborghini. Battle for first and second between Arunjis and Stephen started to heat up a bit. Then Michael made a small mistake, and he hasn't been able to bridge that gap down to what it was on the back end of Arunjis now, with just over 10 minutes to go. Another lap completed there. Aldo and for Son Woodley. Let's have a look and see any comments I might be missing out on track there. On the endurance page, there's some comments out there for us. Zakia Sheikh is in the house. Welcome to you, buddy. Thanks for joining us for all of the support from your side here on the Endurance Series page. That one, let's go to ILEB as well at the same time, see if there's any comments we may need to chat about. 3 Facebook feeds going out there. Marcel Angel is there. Yes, Marcel, we are aware of that. Just getting confirmation of that from Wayne Riddell. There is a compulsory stop, which is why he had to go in. And Marcel Angel saying exactly what we said as well. And if you're a one-man team, you have to get out the car and get back in as if you're doing a driver change, because that's what the other teams are doing. So I appreciate that, Marcel. Thank you, buddy. Woodley being lapped again by Charles Arunjis. .110 dead out of Arunjis that time, 110.6 out of Michael Stevens. So I think Arunjis is going to control it to the end, barring anything going wrong on that Lambo. And Michael Stevens, I think, is just considering the fact that if he stays in second, he's going to save himself about 15 kilos of success ballast. 75 kilos for the win, 60 for the second place. So 15 kilos less for race 2 could potentially help him out for a race 2 win. Andrew Colbert, definitely looking to get back with us pretty soon. Oh, Kurt Wesson, Gerbera, as I said. I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it. There's like a Gerbera in it. There's a little click in it too. But we'll just call it the Friendly City until they make up their minds. How does that sound, Kurt? Colbert will be at the next race meeting. That's good to hear, in his new car for Bigfoot Express Freight Racing Team. He'll be joining his good friend there, and of course teammate in Son Woodley. Good sights, 11.3s, 11.2s out of Silvio, 10.6s and 10.4s. 10-1 out of Silvio on that last pass. Sil's probably looking for a chance now to just bridge that gap slightly between himself and the top 2, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think his pit strategy didn't quite work out in this first race of the championship. Another lap down there, 43 completed for Charles Orangis. Yeah, Michael Stephen, I think, is just circulating now saying, yeah, 15 kilos saving, weight saving for the success ballast that'll be put onto these cars for either the next race or the next round, depending on what the drivers decide to take. There will definitely be an opportunity for Michael Stephen to run a bit closer and possibly take a win ahead of Orangis with that success ballast being put in. Orangis just controlling it now for the last 6.5 minutes or so. I'm going to try and just keep it on track. So I'd say about 5 laps of race action still to go if we take the current lap times. The line for Aldo Scrimanti just ahead of the lead car, so possibly going to be caught and passed now. Aldo. Amazing to think that he's lapping in the 110s, which is only 2 seconds slower than the lead car of Charles Orangis, but he's going to be caught in pasture into the closing stages. Remember, guys, we are chopping and changing between our live stream feeds here on ILEB, on the Voice of Choice, and on the South African Endurance Series pages. So we'll try and pick up on those comments that you guys are throwing out there, and we do appreciate them. It is an interactive way of doing it. So 75 kilos will be put onto Charles Orangis' car after this race. 60 kilos onto Michael Stephen, so 15 kilo advantage there to Michael Stephen for the success ballast on the cars. Definitely help him out possibly for the next race, and then of course if you win the next race of the day, that success ballast gets passed on to you at the next round of the championship. And if I'm not mistaken, do you join us in East London for that round of the championship, Mr. Riddell? I hope that's the case. Yeah, a heads up if I'm not right. And Paulo Pombal are back again. Thank you, guys. We've got 4.5 minutes to go in this round 1 action of the South African GT Racing Association Championship. And it's Charles Orangis, Michael Stephen and Silvio Scrimanti, your top 3. Ahead of, not Isak Spies, it says on the graphic there, it's actually Isak Spies and Jade Goodsight, but Jade Goodsight at the wheel of the car right now. Aldo Scrimanti behind him, Sun Mudley in the 6th spot, and Zolile Letlaka in the Lamborghini out of Stradale Motorsport and Into Africa Mining there in the 7th spot. Unfortunately, the Z4 BMW of Mikhail and Kish Patamba with 2 issues during this hour, and they've had to retire that car and are working, well, they've got the fast development guys working on that car to try and get it fixed for race 2 later today. We've got car 88 with a bit of an issue out there as well, just slowing down slightly. Keep an eye on that with 3 minutes to go. Isak Spies, that's Jade Goodsight at the wheel in car 88. There he is. Ooh! Michael Stephen very lucky to avoid Jade Goodsight, who's just crawling around. I don't know what's happened there with the second McLaren. But definitely an issue there for Jade Goodsight at the wheel of the second of the McLarens. Ultimate Outlaws and LSP Group, of course, the sponsors of those 2 cars. And Sun Mudley and Zolile Letlaka could possibly get some positions back here. says iSpace on the top of the car, but it's actually Jade Goodsight that's at the wheel of that car right now. Arangis with 2.5 minutes to go, completing 47 laps, so potentially we could get 50 laps in an hour here. That would be pretty cool. I think we're just short of it, but it'd be really cool if they can get that in the second heat. Maybe we should go and tell them to aim for 50 laps in an hour for the second heat. Give them a target. Thank you, Paolo. Nice kind words there from your side. Hope you're enjoying all the action. We've got 3 live stream feeds on Facebook, 1 on YouTube at the moment, and all going according to plan right now. We did have a little issue earlier on in the day, and we apologize for that, but of course Paul Bedford and the Planet Margate team, along with True Sport, have sorted that all out. We're running 3 different SIM cards here to boost the signal, to bring you all the action coming out of this one. Power Series, of course, is at Killarney International Raceway. There's been some good stuff there as well. And of course down at Aldo Scrimanti, our good friend Brendan Kelly has got some race action happening there into today's race action. Possibly going to be 2 laps to go here, so we might get that 50 laps in. Jade Goodsight is just nursing that poor McLaren around, trying to stay out of harm's way. I wonder if it's gone into like a false neutral or a bit of an issue there, because it's still able to be driven, but it's not being driven in anger. Live on YouTube at the moment, of course, is our Endurance Series Championship and the first round of the South African GT Racing Association. There is a YouTube link in the comments above, so if you just shoot through those comments, Paolo, you'll pick up on the YouTube stream. It's the same as what you're seeing on the Facebook stream right now. And Jay just nursing Isak Spice's McLaren home, and looks like Sun Mudley's got through on him. Zolila Latlaka might make up 1 more lap, but I think he'll still stay down in 7th place, with Jade and Isak remaining in 6th, with probably, I would say, either a lap to go, or are we looking at checkered flag time? I'm just watching down the straight. No, last lap. We're going to get 50 laps, pal, and you said no. 6 seconds out from not making the 50, and we're going to get 50 because of that. Thank you very much. I'm just going to say that the voice of choice just outgunned True Sport there. Leading at the moment is Charles Arangis, Michael Stephen in 2nd place. There you can see Jade Goodsight having to retire the 2nd McLaren. Silvio Scaranti still in 3rd place right now as they get into the last lap. Final lap time, 13 seconds between Michael Stephen and Charles Arangis. 1.5 seconds. In fact, 1.5 laps, I should say, between Michael Stephen and Silvio Scaranti. That was all down to pit lane strategy there for Silvio Scaranti. They're going to be kicking themselves. There was a mistake made there in the team. They didn't quite take into account possibilities of safety cars. So I'm sure they'll change that round. But of course, he's also going to be going into the next heat of racing with a lot less performance ballast on that car. So Silvio might have taken that as part of his strategy for the day. The lights ablaze and flashing across the line for Charles Arangis as he takes the victory. And Michael Stephen will come through for 2nd place. He's followed home there by Aldo Scamanti right behind him, but Aldo Scamanti will finish up in 4th place, 2 laps down. Great drive there from Michael Stephen. Good to have him back in a race car and part of the Ultimate Outlaws McLaren team. His teammate Isak Spies and Jade Goodsight for the day down in 6th place. They of course will be classified in 6th place after having to retire the car. There you can see just on the right hand side of your shot. So Lille comes through, he completes 43 laps, Sun Mudley will complete 45 laps, and Silvio Scaranti will take the 3rd spot and the top 3 in the podium there as well. Isak Spies and Jade Goodsight won't take the checkered flag, but they will still be classified down in 6th place. So that's how things finish up here for round 1 and race 1 of round 1 of the South African GT Racing Association Championship. Hope you enjoyed all of that. We are supposed to be heading down to the pit lane for a podium ceremony with the top 3. So I'm going to hang on to the commentary and the visuals here just for a little while until I get confirmation of that. I don't know if...
Right, here we are coming end of the race. P1, P2, P3, the cars will pull in and park in front of their numbers. And the first winner of race 1 is Charles Arangis. Very excited team, all very happy. Second place is going to be Michael Stevens in the McLaren Gen 2 GT3. There's Shaw climbing out of his car. Extremely happy. I know he's tired because he's just finished a 3-hour race and now he's just done a 1-hour race. So I'll let these guys to get a helmet off and take it easy from there. As you can see here, Michael Stephen busy taking helmet and all that off. So
Well done, bro.
right, and number 3 is Silvio Scabante. So we got 2 Lamborghinis, first and third, and guys very happy. I know they're going to spray some stuff very, very shortly. And I'm going to speak to Michael first. The simple reason is he's done all the BOP testing on these cars, so he can tell us, Michael, P2, BOP experience and everything else like that. Did the teams or the cars behave the way you expected them to?
Yeah, not quite. We were hoping to be a bit faster in the race, but Charles did a great job. He's moving to turn 1. I sort of preempted that he was going to do it, but up the middle I didn't have anything more, and great move to get into the lead, and from there on he just had more pace than me the whole race. So even if he didn't get past there, I think he would have been able to have a go. So all credit to him, but race 2 is coming up and we're going to fight back strong.
Super, Michael. Thank you very much, Charles. Quite a turnaround for the books there from certain things you were experiencing last time. But first race 1 of series, done and dusted, P1?
Yeah, Gary G, thanks. I think I owed it to the team. They've worked so hard. I mean, yesterday in the test, our car literally was the slowest of all the GT3 cars, and we had to go back to the drawing board with setup and all that type of stuff. And kudos to Just, we went crazy on the setup, and it worked. So don't know how great the tires are after this race, but we should. It was just fantastic. Thanks so much.
Right, super. Thank you very much for that, Charles Oranges. Now we get to P3. Young Silvio Scabante. Guys, these guys have been sitting in these cars for an hour, and I promise you, it is... Well, he can tell us how hot it is in the actual car.
Yeah, how's it, Gary? Yeah, very hot, I must admit. I'm not quite used to it. But yeah, nevertheless, third is good for Scuderia Scabante. We're happy with that, and let's hope we can improve on the next race with the ballast weight penalties. Will definitely help me in my favour. So, yeah, it was great. Well done to Charles for the win, and well done to Mike. I think it was quite close between the two of them, but yeah, awesome to be here. Thanks to Dezzi's, thanks to ILEB.
Right, congratulations to the 3 winners. Very first race for South African GT Racing Association. 3 winners, 3 beautiful motor cars. Guys, bear with us. They will be back a little later on today for race 2. So thanks a lot, and we'll speak to you later.